Hey guys, I'm back here with another video, and today I have some good news. So it was announced yesterday that Bungie and Activision have decided to split. This is excellent news. As you know, Bungie, they're the creators of Halo, but they're also the creators of Destiny. And with Destiny, it's always been a very rocky history with Destiny. The first game launched, it took a while for that game to really get good and get traction, and then the same issue occurred with Destiny 2. I am a big Destiny fan, so this news is very exciting to me. So Bungie put out a statement yesterday, and we're going to read it here. When we first launched our partnership with Activision in 2010, the gaming industry was in a pretty different place. As an independent studio setting out to build a brand new experience, we wanted a partner willing to take a big leap of faith with us. We had a vision for Destiny that we believed in, but to launch a game of that magnitude, we needed the support of an established publishing partner. With Activision, we created something special. To date, Destiny has delivered a combination of over 50 million games and expansions to players all around the world. More importantly, we've also witnessed a remarkable community, tens of millions of Guardians strong, rise up and embrace Destiny to play together, to make and share memories, and even do truly great things that reach far beyond the game we share, to deliver a positive impact on people's everyday lives. Now, I want to kind of comment on that real quick. With Destiny, the Destiny community has been very, very interesting. It's not toxic. Now, granted, with any online community, there's going to be some toxicity, but the wonderful thing about the Destiny community is that everyone wants the game to be better, and people have just been begging for Bungie to listen to them, and there's a ton of great ideas out in the community. And there's been a lot of frustration, especially with Destiny 2's launch, that we didn't feel like the developers were really listening to us. So the community has really, to be honest, Bungie doesn't deserve the community that they have. They really don't deserve it, because we have stuck through it through thick and thin. Even with how terrible Destiny 2's launch was, we stuck with it. Now, granted, there was a huge drop-off in player base and in Twitch views for streamers, but people want the game to be good. People who play Destiny 2 when it launched constantly come back and say, is it good now? And with Forsaken, a lot of people will say, yes, it is good now, but that's another point we'll get to. So, continuing, we have enjoyed a successful 8-year run and would like to thank Activision for their partnership on Destiny. Looking ahead, we're excited to announce plans for Activision to transfer publishing rights to Destiny to Bungie. With our remarkable Destiny community, we are ready to publish on our own, while Activision will increase their focus on owned IP projects. The planned transition process is already underway in its early stages, with Bungie and Activision both committed to making sure the handoff is as seamless as possible. With Forsaken, we've learned and listened, and we learned in what we believe our players want from a great Destiny experience. And I agree. It's Forsaken is proof that they have been listening to a degree. Rest assured, there's more of that on the way. We'll continue to deliver on the existing Destiny roadmap, and we're looking forward to releasing more seasonal experiences in the coming months, as well as surprising our community with some exciting announcements about what lies beyond. Thank you so much for your continued support. Our success is owed in no small part to the incredible community of players who have graced our worlds with light and life. We know self-publishing won't be easy. There's still much for us to learn as we grow as an independent global studio, but we see unbounded opportunities and potential in Destiny. We know that new adventures await us all on new worlds filled with mystery, adventure, and hope. We hope you'll join us there. See you, Starside Bungie. So, so they're splitting off, and they're keeping the Destiny IP, which is excellent news. So with Forsaken, Destiny is a much, much better experience now. And it's very obvious, especially with the launch with Destiny 2. It was kind of there with Destiny 1, but with the Destiny 2, it was obvious that there was a huge importance put onto continued profit. Because, you know, a lot of Destiny doesn't require a monthly subscription, right? Unless you're playing on like Xbox Live or PlayStation Network, you have to have a subscription to that. But I don't think any of that money gets passed on to Bungie. But like if you're playing on PC, there's no monthly subscription, right? So Bungie has to continue earning money from that, and the game has to be monetized in some way. Now, with that being said, it felt like the game experience was being, in lieu of a good gaming experience, the monetization seemed more important when Destiny 2 first launched. And that was probably one of the biggest complaints. There was, the Eververse, which is like their in-game real money store, and there was the experience debacle, which after you reach the max level, you get these engrams, which are kind of like, I don't want to say loot boxes. You could trade them in for stuff that you could get in the real money Eververse store. Excuse me. And so they were doxing experience, making it slower to level. So, because once you hit the max level, if you reach enough experience to level again, you got an engram, which would give you some of the stuff that was in the real money store. And they were slowing down the experience, so you were getting less and less of those to try to push people to actually just spending their hard-earned money to buy these things. Now, granted, their Eververse is purely cosmetic stuff, right? So it's, things that don't really impact gameplay per se, which is fine, and that's, in my opinion, how in-game monetization should be, especially for free-to-play games like Warframe and Path of Exile are excellent examples of that. So, what's great about this is that Activision is very big about continued monetization of a game. And if you look at the sales of Call of Duty, the latest Call of Duty, which was Black Ops 3, I don't know, I don't play these games, but that game did very well, earned them a lot of money, but they're disappointed in the potential monetization of the game. They don't feel that there's a great outlook for it. So just having sales of the copies of the title, having great sales of copies of titles isn't enough. It has to be monetized. And for something like, and you could tell that that was being pushed onto Destiny, which was very unfortunate. And we knew it had to be a directive from Activision, which wouldn't be surprising considering how we see Activision, pushing Blizzard to do certain things. I think Diablo Immortals are kind of like the perfect example of that. Activision kind of saying we need something that has continued monetization. You see that with Overwatch, with their loot boxes and whatnot, and even WoW has real money items that you can spend real money on. So everything has continued monetization, which again I don't have a problem with. So especially with a game like Destiny that requires continued monetization because it is a live service. And they do release content regularly that you have to pay for, which is fine, and I guess that kind of helps pay for it. But the more money for them, the better, generally. So with this, they're now going to be able to self-publish, which I totally agree with Bungie in the earlier statement up here, that in 2010, the industry was completely different. Nowadays, self-publishing is actually a viable thing. So Warframe is a perfect example of that. Digital Extremes self-published it. And there's actually a really excellent YouTube, on YouTube there's a video, it's a documentary about the whole Warframe thing from, I think it's NoClip. I highly recommend watching it. And they talk about how scary it was and what risk they took to self-publish, but it's paid off. And it paid off for Warframe because they listened to the community. I hope Bungie does the same thing. Listen to the community. The community will tell you how to make money. The community will tell you how you can earn their money. The community is going to tell you, hey, I want to give you my money. The community wants to give you money. That's all there is to it, right? But you got to listen to the community to learn the best way of doing it. And that's what Digital Extremes did with Warframe, and it has been wildly successful for them. Warframe is fantastic. It's hard to believe it is a free-to-play game, and it has a wonderful monetization element to it. There's no pressure to spend money. You want to spend money. I mean, I want to give them money because they gave me such a game for free. Now, granted, Destiny is not a free game, but that may be a choice they decide to make the game free to play with all the content free to play. But they would have to be very careful on how to monetize the game because you don't want to get into a trap where it's a pay to win or whatever. And there are I've seen for years excellent suggestions on the subreddit, for example, about cosmetics, things that they could do that people are more than willing to pay money for. So I think this is a great opportunity for Bungie, and I hope they don't waste it. Now, with all this being said, I am seeing a lot of talk online about, if this is happening with Bungie, what about Blizzard? It's kind of a different situation with Blizzard. Blizzard is merged with Activision. It is Activision Blizzard. That's the name of the company. So it's different. Whereas Bungie, it was a partnership. They're almost kind of like a second-party or developer, if you will. They, it's kind of like a situation with Naughty Dog and Sony. Sony doesn't really own Naughty Dog, but there is a partnership there, and that's why all their stuff is PlayStation exclusive. Like Last of Us and Uncharted. And so with Activision, it was a very similar thing. I mean, Bungie had that same relationship with Microsoft back in the early Xbox days. So, they were able to split from them, and then they kind of moved over to Activision. So it's a different type of partnership. It's possible for Blizzard and Activision to split, but it's a lot more complex, and there's a lot more money at stake with a split like that. You can look at the whole AOL Time Warner split. I mean, they had a merger very similar to what Blizzard and Activision had, and there was a split, and it was not a pretty split. So it could happen, but I don't see it really happening with Blizzard because it's a completely different thing. It's more or less, I can almost guarantee it was more of kind of a contractual thing between Blizzard or between Bungie and Activision, whereas Blizzard and Activision, it's more of an asset merge type thing. So it's a much more difficult solution. Now, personally, I think it would be great if Blizzard was to move away from Activision, because I think it's obvious within the last few months that it's, especially within the last 30 days, you could tell that there's been a very Activision starting to flex its muscle within Blizzard. Blizzard has been very independent, if you will, and up to maybe the last couple, last year, where Activision's kind of been more assertive within Blizzard. So, excuse me. So, all in all, this is excellent news. I know the Destiny community is elated by this news. I hope they take this opportunity, learn from people like Path of Exile, which is a completely different game, but still, and Warframe, which Warframe is probably the best comparison because it's kind of a looter shooter in a way too. But learn from the people who are successful, right? And listen to the community. Have a super open relationship with the community. That's what makes Digital Extreme with Warframe so successful, is that they are very transparent with the community. They engage the community constantly. Their community engagement is probably the best of any developer out there in existence, really. So, at least big developers. So please follow those models. Look at those people. I mean, even if you can, talk to them. They know what. If you're going to self-publish, talk to people who are most successful at it, and talk to the community. That's the only thing I can really say. But again, this is great news. I'm now more excited for Destiny than I have ever been, and I hope this works out. So anyways, so if you like this video, go ahead and give it a like. If you have any comments or criticisms or any kind of constructive feedback, leave a comment. And if you like my content, go and subscribe. I appreciate it. Thank you.